We're always delighted to bring you distinctive items, and we're happy to bring new things from her Dee's distinctive line of cutting dies.
And these are Christmas cutting dies. We have ornaments, holly, and leaves, and we've made some beautiful projects with them.
Some gorgeous things. Come play with us. Well, ta-da, there are the newest ones from Dee's.
Right. We have an ornament set number 1, which has a large and a small ornament, complete with little toppers for the top of those ornaments. Plus we have an ornament overlay. Now this is the large ornament overlay that fits the large ornament.
And just beautiful. Then we have this icicle style of ornament. And then this is called a wreath builder, but you're going to see lots of ways to use this.
Right. I want to point out, let's see, we already know what this is, the overlay, but when you get these cutting dies, they come connected. You're seeing here that they are not connected because we've already cut them apart with our wire cutters, and you can see these little pieces here, which is where the parts were connected. So the smaller little ornament pieces, and so each one of these where there's more than one cutting die, you're going to have to cut those apart.
Yeah.
Very simple to do. They just snip apart.
Okay, let's get into projects.
Okay, this one, there's a lot
Same
of them
thing.
in there. I just want to point the same thing. There's a lot of them in there. Here we go.
Okay. Now, what's nice about Dee's ornaments, or Dee's cutting die, number 1 is that they're beautiful, but they're also very useful, and you can use them flat or you can shape them. So we're going to use them flat to begin with. Yeah.
Yes.
And so here is that circular one, and then also the icicle. Really pretty with dazzles on it.
And these are on the Winter's Butterfly papers. And Susan started out on this card with first getting one of those ornaments cut out. So just use the cutting dies, use your die cutting machine, go ahead and cut out the ornament shape. This is the smaller shape. And then she used the Winter's Butterfly dazzles. And I'm going to peel off one of the dazzles. It's one of the scroll work dazzles from off the top. Really pretty in this pearl silver finish. And then she placed this on the ornament and she let it hang off on the right side. And when you do that, you can go ahead and cut it off. So I'm going to cut off the extra pieces there, just right along the edge of that ornament. And then she has one little extra trick to make this just super pretty and sparkly. So there's the ornament. Now just like that, I think it's very pretty, and if it was on a white background, you'd probably be able to see it much better. How pretty is that? But I've also got Glitter Kiss, because Susan decided to use the chrome Glitter Kiss on the edges of that ornament. So let me get that over onto a craft sheet. And Glitter Kiss comes in these great bottles. You just open it up, really simple to do. Also at the top, and I'm just gonna pull this over. I don't try to pull straight up. I try to tilt it
to the side
and pop it off like that. It's got that great sponge on there for an applicator sponge. And then I just get a little bit of the Glitter Kiss.
Operative word, little bit,
right? A little bit. Just you sort of have to push it in to get to it, to have it pick up some of that. And there we go. And she just ran it along the edges. For one thing, she ran it along the edges of the ornament, so it has this nice effect. I do need to get just a little bit more of it. Get more of it on there. And running it along the edges. So then it gives you some definition in that you've got that silver and just a little bit of glitter on the edges of the ornament. When it dries, it gets just a little bit shinier. The liquidy part goes away.
And it dries very quickly.
Right, but she also went across right where the dazzle was, right in the center, and sort of highlighted a little bit, just a little extra dabbing there to get a little bit of extra.
Nice.
Very pretty, simple to do.
Yes. Now the holly over here is from that wreath building, and this has been die cut out of our silver linen, which is just an absolute favorite of the design team around here.
Right.
And like with the Winter's Butterfly collection, I love the purples and the blues. Just so pretty, and has been highlighted with the purple jewel dazzles. So really, really nice. And on the inside, we've got more of the holly and adding more of the dazzles. So that's nice.
So it's a
step one.
Right, and it's a quick and easy look, and I love the ornament shapes and combining them.
Now, look at this. Now, Gail made this, And she started with an 8x8 card. Now we carry those at Paper Wishes, so you can get them, or you can scale this down if you wanted it to be a smaller card. Either way,
a nice big impact. I want to do all 3 ornaments, and it was just, I thought, spectacular to combine those specialty papers with the suede paper, which is also a specialty, but just so bright and shiny on there. And again, I did not have to mold those ornaments in any way. They are flat, but I think they really start to look 3D because of inking on the edges. So here's that overlay ornament. So now you know what that looks like, and it sits right on top, perfectly matches the large ornament. And so all you have to do is glue that in place. But before you do that, you want to ink the edges. So I'm going to start with that red ripple. I've got black ink here. I'm using a StazOn jet black ink and my cosmetic wedge here. Just pick up a little bit of the ink, and you can either hold it up or set it on your paper. I kind of like to hold it, gives me a little more control, and just start inking the edges. And I'm going to stay on the edges because the edges are where you're going to get that shadow. If a light is shining up here toward the center, then the shadow is going to be out toward the edges.
And I notice as you're doing that, you're getting the darker color on the very edge a little bit lighter as you go in.
Right.
That's just happening because you're using the sponge, right?
But you can work in, and you can get it in a little further. But once you go all the way around and then you add this on top, you can really see the dimension. And I went along, after I glued this in place, I went along and inked the edge of that as well.
Oh, the overlay also.
The overlay, so it really looks like it's sort of going back. Nice. Another thing that I did on this card is that up above, and why don't we show that first before I show you what I did.
So here's the top part. I love that sparkle in there. So pretty.
It is pretty. I love to see the tiny little, these get cut out as well, so you cut those out, ink those a little bit, and glue those in place. And I used tiny little thin strips of the silver linen specialty paper for hangers.
Ah, nice.
Tuck
into the greenery.
Right. But up above in the greenery, like you were saying, it's kind of nice to add a little bit of that sparkly green circles holographic paper.
And what I love to do is I love to show you this, because that just kind of knocks your socks off. You know, Guy, why would I use that? Well, here is exactly why. Because you're going to get that flash of color, and really those circles work really well on the ornament, but they kind of disappear on the greenery.
Right.
And you just get that different shades of green, which is so pretty.
And how fun it is to cut out all of those holly pieces and then just start constructing and making this nice big branch. But one thing I did with those is I did ink the edges again, so that gives it a little bit of dimension. But if we can get in close, when this is cut, it also embosses a line. I'm trying to show that. There's a line right there, right in the center
vein line.
of the vein line, where you can actually fold that up. So just fold right along the vein line, and then you get just a little bit more dimension. So I didn't have to go and shape it a whole lot, but I can just bend it up a little bit and then glue those in place, and they really sort of stick up.
They really do. I also have to say I love them out of that paper with the lace looking on the lighter green. That's so pretty. And that's out of Christmas Cabin?
Yes.
Very nice. The black suede, of course, is such a rich color and really lets those sparkle. There's the silver snowflake.
And there's a little bit of extra sparkle because I used the Gems and Jewels dazzles. So sparkle and shine, that's with those dazzles, plus the extra little shiny dazzles going around here.
Very striking. Really, really striking. Okay, if you like that, scrapbookers, are you standing by? Because I've got something gorgeous for you. Look at that. So we've taken a little bit of the idea and expanded it and placed it on the scrapbook page.
Right, and these surrounding branches coming around here and doing those, the holly and all of those leaves in patterned papers. Just genius. I just love that look. It's almost like a quilt up there with all of that going around. And in this case, these are actually shaped, but I want to get to that ornament and talk about that too. The ornaments that are used also in the pattern papers, and you've got the overlay piece. But Debbie chose to shape these with our tool shaping kit.
Okay.
Our paper blossoms tool shaping
Right.
kit, and it's got all of these styluses in here. It's got tweezers there, but I'm going to take out the largest one, that largest stylus.
I'll
And then
scoot this over.
I have a mouse pad. You can use a piece of foam. I have the overlay and I have the ornament that it fits. Now I'm going to shape both of these. I'm going to do them separately. If I
You're going to shape the overlay too,
I
huh?
am. If
Ah.
I put the overlay on there and shape it now, it has a tendency to sort of pop off the glue. It won't stick, so I am going to do them separately. And I'm going to start on the outer edge with this one, with the largest ball, and just start going
In a
around.
circular motion.
I am just going around in a circle, and as I'm going, it sort of picks it up. You can see it already starts shaping it. I go around the outer edges, and then I make my way into the center. And you just kind of have to take your time. It doesn't take very long. Make sure you go all the way into the center. I'm going to go around this outer edge now. And when you're all done, it'll be shaped all the way around the outside, and it will go right into the center. So it'll pick it up like that, so that when you glue it in place, it's actually cupped right now. So it's sort of like a dome there. And then I go back and do the same thing with this one. I'm going to turn it over and start right along the edges. And you can even, on this one, on the overlay, and I know it's hard to see, it's black on black, but that's what I have right now. You can also move up to or move down to a little bit smaller ball to fit some of those smaller areas. But you do want to shape this one as well, so that when you're done shaping, it's going to fit the piece that you did here. It's going to suit it just perfectly. When you place this on your page or your card or whatever you're going to do, use foam tape just in the
Right.
center. Don't go around the edges with the foam tape, just keep it in the center so it'll keep that cupped shape.
Okay. And so going back to these ornaments, the other thing that catches my eye is the sparkle on that little topper on that cap. And that was done cutting it out of the Gold Sparkles holographic paper. So that just adds a bit of shine. And Debbie has used ribbon to hang them, so that works nicely.
Yeah, it's just a
And-
nice presentation. There's a little
Yeah,
inking on the
more
edges
holly.
of them, and it just helps to add that dimension. A beautiful look.
Very, very pretty. It's really important, I think, to have those lights and dark colors of those papers, and
Right.
then adding the berries.
If it was all, you have to remember, if it was all one pattern paper, if all of those were
Yeah.
done with that one, you would lose the look entirely. You wouldn't be able to see. So,
And this is all using the Christmas cabin papers. And now we have a wreath. So using that wreath builder for what it was
Right.
designed for, perhaps.
it's simple to just cut those out. There was some inking that was done there to really give it some dimension. But Debbie also used the Easy Circles template to draw a 4-inch circle on the front of this little 5-inch card. So that gives her an idea, okay, where to place these so I can really get them going in a circle. So that was a good idea.
And again, she's used that green Circles holographic, and she's added, it looks like the Christmas tidings.
Or Yuletide greetings, actually.
Right, okay,
one.
Yuletide greetings.
Right.
And adding some of the ornament, or some of the buttons. Certainly could
Right.
have added some of the pearls and the sequins too, had she wanted to.
That's a great look. I love the
Yeah.
buttons on there, little ornaments
Very
on your
pretty.
wreath. Very sweet.
And then a very tiny Merry Christmas inside, and then just a little bit on the inside of the card with good tidings.
Right, so those holly leaves can just be a tiny little addition
Yeah.
somewhere.
Very, very nice. Now we have a shaker card, so that's fun to do. And this is, again, as you can see, it's with that overlay and then also with the outside cutting die.
Right, so this is fun. You actually cut this into the front of your card and you start adding all those elements behind. And I want to show you, while I did cut this already, I want to start by saying that first it was covered, your card front gets covered with papers, and there's 2 papers here that it was covered with. So there's your card. And then you're going to use the large ornament cutting die. So Debbie used this one, the large ornament, and here's what that looks like. So she placed that on the front of her card. Now, depending on what kind of die cutting machine you have, you can open it like this and run through like that, so it will cut that. But if you have a smaller die cutting machine that won't take a 6-inch wide piece, then I've got a little tip for you. Here is the platform, well, not the platform, so the sandwich, the cutting plates. And normally you're going to take something and you're going to put it in between like this. Now, if we did it like that, it would cut all the way through to the back of the card. So what I like to do is wrap it around. I'm going to put the back of the card around the back of that plate. So now the only thing on the inside here is the front of your card.
Excellent.
So go ahead and run that through, and then you'll have this nice die cut that you can remove, and you can use that somewhere else. And I have these sort of holding it in. So that's kind of a nice feature, is that you get to use that on another card. Now that we have our window, we're going to glue the acetate behind the window. And that's real simple to do. I've got a glue stick here. Oh, it would be simple if I was able to open it. So this got glued shut nicely. Okay, there we go. So here's the glue stick, and you can
know which end is the cap? Was that the message there?
You can actually use the glue stick to attach the acetate on there, which I think is kind of a nice thing.
You wouldn't think that you could, huh?
No, it's always a surprise. So all you have to do is make sure that you're covering that opening. So now you've got your acetate in place. Another fun thing that Debbie chose to do was glue the back of this, a cutout. This is the overlay in brown from the paper, and then just insert it in there. So it's going to fit in there perfectly.
Nice.
So that's kind of the nice front cover. I'm not going to glue it in at this moment, but that's what Debbie did. And then we're going to move to what she used on the back,
which is the craft foam.
Right, the craft foam. And this isn't the adhesive, this is just the standard craft foam. And she chose to go ahead and glue this together. But we do have the self-adhesive craft foam, which I think is perfect for this.
Yeah, that's important to mention because it's not found easily, we have discovered. And so it also is going to save a step.
Right.
So you can use the self-adhesive craft foam and just die cut it amazingly enough.
I have to say it would actually have saved 2 steps, because here what I had to do is glue those two together and then die cut them out. Okay, so there's the die cut that I'll remove. I can use that elsewhere too. But now I have to glue this to the back of that acetate window. So if this had been the self-adhesive, I could have pulled away the adhesive, stuck them together, pulled it away again, and stuck it on here. So that is a really nice option. Glue this in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Or peel it. In this case, just make sure that the glue, if you're using the glue, is very close to that window, because we don't want the glitter or whatever we're going to use to escape. And here we are. And what she did is she made sure that this piece was smaller all the way around than the card. So she could just line that up. And now we have this foam that we're going to be able to use to capture those sequins. And if you want to talk about those.
Well, and this is a special mix that was done exclusively to go with the Christmas cabin papers by our friends at Buttons Galore. And as you can see, it's got colors that are going to work beautifully.
So it's Christmas colors, but it has little hearts in there, which I absolutely love.
Very
I just
sweet.
think that's a great idea. Once that's done, then all you have to do is cover that up with a piece of patterned paper. And I am going to add glue, again, making sure that I'm staying close to that image so it will really capture those sequins in there. And then just place that on. Now this makes the inside of your card look nice and finished too. So when you open your card, it's going to be like so, with fun glitter in there.
There you go.
If I had taken the time to put that in place, that would be pretty cute too.
And the other thing that Debbie added was the greeting, as well as some of the jewel dazzles. And
a little kind of a surprise up at the top. If you look at this little branch. Now, the interesting thing is that you could use some of the wreath builder parts to make a branch up at the top, but Debbie got the bright idea of cutting this piece from the center of the overlay to create that branch, and real easy to do. Just cut it out.
Snip it.
Just snip it, and then several of those going across the top will make a branch, and all you have to
Okay.
do is add the jewel dazzle.
Nice, nice. Okay, so Dee has done it again. So we have these 4 dies, the ornament, the overlay, the icicle ornament, and the wreath builder.
And it makes some really fun
It
and
does.
beautiful cards.
It does. It absolutely does. So we love having Dee's things, and they're such special things. And Dee lives in Canada, and just north of us. So hi, Dee. Keep designing, sweetie.
Yeah, we love these.
And thank you for joining us.